That is Carly Ann Taylor on Rhema. Why should I worry? It is just after 25 minutes to 12 midday. As we approach the anniversary of the horrific events of October the 7th, are we any closer to peace for the Middle East, in particular the ongoing war between Israel and Gaza? Well, some dramatic steps towards peace potentially happening this week. A 20-point peace plan. Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump presenting that to the world, and let's just say a mixed bag of reactions to that. Joining me on the program now, a Professor of International Relations at the University of Otago, Robert Patman. Robert, kia ora, thanks for your time.
You're right, Andrew. No, it's a pleasure.
Do you think this is a step towards peace? Certainly, I was surprised when the announcement was made that a deal could be done so quickly. But of course, the ink isn't dry on this one yet, and we're still a long way from this peace plan being enacted.
Well, it's a hopeful sign in what's been an absolutely desperate situation. And it's a sad testament to where we're at in the 21st century that such a situation can be allowed to carry on like this for 2 years, with war crimes being committed first by Hamas and war crimes also being committed, I think, in Gaza by Israel. Putting that to one side, though, this is welcome news. And it indicates some shift in the American position. Under this peace plan, America has basically taken the position that an apolitical, technocratic Palestinian Authority should be established in Gaza while that is reconstructed, and there'll be a board to oversee that process, a board of peace headed by none other than Donald J. Trump.
Yep.
And the Israelis have agreed in a phased withdrawal from Gaza.
Wow.
That doesn't sit comfortably, of course, with some members, in fact, many members of Mr. Netanyahu's coalition government. So that there could be some fireworks about to occur there, because there was already plans underway to settle in Gaza amongst some of the coalition members. So, yes, it provides a much needed injection of hope and optimism, but Hamas haven't accepted the plan yet.
Yeah.
And if they don't, Mr. Trump has made it clear he will swing by Mr. Netanyahu's attempts, in Mr. Netanyahu's words, to quote, finish the job.
Yeah.
He's had 2 years to do that, and he hasn't done it. And Mr. Trump's and American administration have fully backed Israel throughout that period. So I'm not really putting too much weight on that threat, because it's more of the same. The crucial question is, will Hamas see enough in the deal for them to say, right, we'll give up our weapons and we'll walk away?
Now, this is a typical Trump territory in some ways, negotiating a peace deal without all of the combatants being at the table in this regard. So we wait and see. The complexity in this one, though, is that we're dealing with Hamas. Yes, they are the elected government of Gaza, but they're also a terrorist organization, and certainly Israel and the United States not entirely comfortable with doing a peace deal with terrorists. Yes, a peace deal for the people of Gaza and potentially for Palestine down the line, but doing the deal with Hamas, is this one of the sticking points, or do they need to find another representation of the people of Gaza in order to get this deal across the line?
Well, let's be quite clear. Hamas is being ruled out under this deal or plan. I think plan's a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
There's no role for Hamas in the governance of Gaza or any Palestinian territory. So basically, Hamas are being asked to surrender, but they are getting, Mr. Netanyahu is having to accept things which he previously considered red lines.
Yeah.
And on the question of terrorism, you know, Andrew, it's very important to keep in mind, and we know this in New Zealand, that terrorism is not just committed by non-state actors like Hamas, it's also committed by states, state-sponsored terrorism.
Yeah.
you've been a Palestinian living in Gaza with nothing to do with Hamas, and you'd lost family members in the last 2 years, you might believe that Israel is engaged in terrorism.
Mm.
So we've got to put that in perspective.
Yep.
There's a lot of hard feelings on both sides. And yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation. The other thing here that we haven't mentioned, which is crucial to answering your question, is that Mr. Trump got buy-in from many Arab countries, in
Yes.
fact, virtually all of them,
Hmm.
and key players like Qatar.
Yep.
And Mr. Netanyahu had to publicly apologize
Yes.
to Qatar. That attack on Israel's attack, illegal preemptive attack on Doha, where 5 Hamas officials and 1 Qatar security official were killed,
Mm.
the turning point. Qatar told the United States in no uncertain terms. And remember, America has its biggest base in Qatar in the Middle East.
Yep.
That this was unacceptable and intolerable and must stop.
Mm.
And that Qatar was the 6th country to experience preemptive Israeli bombing in the last 2 years. So I think the Arab countries who've been enormously disappointing throughout this crisis, when I say that, after all, they were seeing a neighboring people
Yep.
on the receiving end of this bombardment, apart from wringing their hands, didn't do much. But that mood seems to have changed.
Hmm.
And I think they've been empowered by what happened in Qatar. Saudi Arabia stepped forward. I think it's really important that Mr. Trump's got buy-in to his plan from these regional actors. So, I don't think we can write it off. I
Yep.
think measured optimism is how I put it.
In terms of what that will look like, and not wanting to get ahead of things too much, because already, even since that deal has been done, there's been a bit of a rollback from Benjamin Netanyahu about what this will look like exactly, and hey, the devil is in the detail. But an administration to govern the people of Gaza, yes, Trump will be the chairman of the board in that regard. And some other international players here, not an
Yes.
Israel takeover, not necessarily Trump's Riviera by the Mediterranean, but an international community response to this. Could this work, in your opinion?
Yes, and what Mr. Trump is looking for is many of his rich Arab allies, very countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar have got money to burn, compared with many.
Yeah.
Helping to develop Gaza with, it's got obviously fantastic potential on the Mediterranean. So there is that aspect. He's looking for investment from Arab countries, but international investors generally,
Yeah.
to rebuild Gaza. I don't know about the question of compensation for 90% of all residential buildings being destroyed.
Yeah.
That may come up. So there's all sorts of knotty issues here. But I do think, there's a couple of issues here. Firstly, there's a difference of emphasis between the United States and Netanyahu, which you hinted at earlier. And that is that I think America has now not completely, but rode back considerably from its position early in the year, where it wanted to get the Palestinians out of Gaza, effectively take it over and create a Riviera. Now, people living in Gaza can stay, and people who fled can come back.
Yeah.
So they're not seeking to eject Palestinians. But the second and crucial thing is, another point of difference here, perhaps with Netanyahu, is that the Palestinian Authority looks like it's going to be empowered. We both had, acknowledged that Hamas can't play a role.
Yeah.
But the Palestinian Authority, if this goes according to plan, will take over the governance, subject to it reforming itself under international supervision, could take over in Gaza. The big question, though, is what about the West Bank?
Yeah.
That hasn't quite been. And Mr. Netanyahu was scathing in his public comments about the Palestinian Authority.
Yes.
So he clearly does not treat the Palestinian Authority in the same way that Mr. Trump does. Mr. Trump actually likes Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian authority have spoken very fondly of him. So there's going to be, I think, a bit of a difference there. And the question, of course, you said the devil's in the detail.
Yeah.
We can sign up to agreements, but it is their implementation which is crucial. Israel is only committed to a phased withdrawal, subject to demilitarization of Gaza. And you can, I hope it doesn't happen, but you can envisage a scenario where Israel says it'd love to withdraw, but it can't because it hasn't been fully demilitarized.
Yeah.
And other international observers are saying, no, it's fine. So you can imagine conflicts of interest occurring there. The other thing is, of course, Mr. Netanyahu, his Knesset has voted to fully annex the West Bank in 2025.
Yeah.
This plan doesn't quite sit comfortably with that. And I'm wondering it's going to cause domestic problems. 77 members of the Knesset against 13 who opposed it accepted a proposal to fully annex the West Bank this year. So there is some knotty problems to get over before we can get this plan over the line.
Certainly, although it seems like, given the discussions about the Palestinian state, and of course Winston Peters is saying, hey, now is not the right time to recognize a Palestinian state, perhaps the idea of some type of Palestinian state with international management of some of the details there, perhaps we're closer to even the US and Israel recognizing a form of Palestinian state, certainly than we were a week ago.
Perhaps, but the Palestinian state is envisaged as a possibility in point 19. What disappoints me, because I think the core issue here is putting Hamas aside. The core issue is for Israel, the Netanyahu government, to acknowledge a Palestinian right of political self-determination, which is enshrined in the UN Charter.
Yeah.
All peoples are entitled under the UN Charter to the political right of self-determination. I'd like to have seen that in the document with a long-term plan to establish a Palestinian state. But as you say, we're in a more positive. There's another aspect of this plan we haven't discussed, Andrew. It provides, if Hamas accept within the next 3 or 4 days, to use Mr. Trump's words, if the plan is accepted, unfettered, unrestricted humanitarian assistance will be provided to the long-suffering people. 500,000 people are currently facing starvation in Gaza. That will be a huge relief to get that food in, and assistance, medical assistance, and people having limbs amputated without any anesthetic. And children are as well. So this is a desperate situation, and that would be a tremendous. And I noticed, this is interesting, that Mr. Trump's plan envisages the UN stepping back into the role of distributing humanitarian assistance. No mention of the Israeli-American joint venture called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. So the UN will take over again the humanitarian assistance role. So some interesting things there. But as I say, on a human level, that would be a really nice thing to happen. I hope that we do get a positive outcome.
Certainly it remains very complex geopolitically and hey, honestly, perhaps even spiritually, but perhaps some hope on the horizon. Robert, thank you so much for the work you do, the insight that you bring. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.